a change from normal programming. Today I thought I'd share with you a list of 5 books that I would recommend if you are at the start of or are thinking of starting a business. All of these are great reads if you want to use your downtime for some inspiration. The 5 books that I've chosen speak to 5 different moments in the entrepreneurial journey. The first one speaks to the entrepreneurial mindset. The second book focuses on how to create and evaluate successful ideas. I chose the third book because it focuses on the exit strategy. I feel very passionately about having an exit strategy as early as possible in your business strategy. It distills your thinking and you make better decisions for it. Fourth is a book that talks about a business leader's workflow and time management. And finally, the last book is a classic that speaks to the human touch skills that every business person should know as a standard. Right, enough with the chat, let's get down to business. Book 1, The Lean Startup by Reis. The Lean Startup provides a scientific approach to creating and managing startups to get a desired product into the customer's hands faster. Reis's main thesis is that the human element of starting a business, that is our assumptions, bias and preferences, creates a chaotic environment for a business to start. This chaos muddies the water and it takes an average business creator too long to realize what is or isn't right with the product. This book breaks down a more scientific and practical technique to channel your entrepreneurial mindset and walks you through the lean startup methodology. First, take an idea that you have, then build a rough and ready first iteration of the product. Then code the business system to put the iteration out into the world. Next, measure the response. Then you collect specific data points and finally learn what the data is telling you to make changes. And then you do it again. The idea is that you process your product development through this cycle. You will minimize the total time through the loop and get to a profitable and sustainable business set up faster with limited time and money wastage. Book 2, Will It Fly by Pat Flynn. We all know Pat Flynn, but just in case you don't, Pat has made a name for himself as an online passive income guru, and he's considered a thought leader when it comes to the entrepreneurial lifestyle. In Will It Fly, he offers practical, real-world advice on how to test out business ideas before you get started to make sure they're feasible, realistic, and have profit potential. I found Pat's approach to be a lot more interested in who the person is behind the business and to match the business's potential to your motivations and thought patterns. If the scientific nuts and bolts approach that Reis takes in the lean startup isn't quite your vibe, or the business you're thinking of making is service or content based, Will It Fly may resonate more. It's an excellent book for anyone who has a business idea but doesn't quite have the confidence to invest their time, money, and effort into it before they start. Book 3, Built to Sell by John Warrilow. This book is definitely one of those that just made everything click in my head. Throughout this book, John Warrilow shares his business lessons framed in a parable format, making it an easy read. The story is about a hard-working entrepreneur named Alex Stapleton who owns a marketing agency. At the beginning of the story, he's getting frustrated with bad clients, underperforming employees, and low profits. As a result, he is ready to sell up his business. He then takes on a mentor, Ted, who helps him learn how business buyers evaluate companies. Ted provides Alex with the help he needs to create value in the company and as a result create a much more enjoyable and profitable business that is primed for a lucrative sale. The book ends with Alex going through the process of selling the company, including the hurdles he faced and overcame. As a part of the story, the author suggests 17 ways to create value in your business. While some of the tips are obvious, others are absolute gems that can only be learned through experience, such as the advice of hiring 2 salespeople instead of 1. Following the parable is a detailed 8-step process for building a business that can survive without the owner. The reason why I'm suggesting this book to you at the start of your journey is that it will give you an excellent detailed view of the end play. Now, you may not want to necessarily sell the business you are building, but seeing a full story play out of a business transitioning to a new owner will help you shake off some of that preciousness about entrepreneurship. It sounds silly, but for me, there was an aha moment when I finished the book. It clicked that the point of going into business was, at the end of the day, to make money. It sounds crude when I say it like that, but I think so much about entrepreneurship is fanciful. Not enough people make it okay to admit the truth. This is a book I pick up every few years to check in with. Hopefully it proves to be a similar checkpoint for you and your business. Book 4, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Now this is a business book that makes it onto most business book recommendation lists, and for good reason. It shatters any outdated notions of having to sit at a desk 9 to 5 to be able to deserve business success. The core idea is that your goal is not to be efficient, it is to be effective. I remember I was still a lawyer when I first read this book, and it challenged so much of what I thought was impossible to create. Ideas like outsourcing repetitive tasks to virtual assistants or striving for a flexible and mobile lifestyle, even though I haven't made it big, were all quite uncomfortable to hear back then. 15 years or so later, yeah, of course, that all makes sense. The reason why I think this book is a great at the start of your journey is that it alerts you to the different way of approaching your work. There will be less risk of you wasting time trying to look and feel busier than you need to be if you read this book now rather than later, when you have formed your habits and routines. This book is full of unapologetic, realistic actions and ideas to make your goals into reality. This is a recommendation you will most definitely thank me for. Book 5, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Some books just have those timeless universal insights that never seem to go out of date. How to Win Friends and Influence People is one such book. In this book, Dale Carnegie shares a series of techniques on navigating relationships and influencing the people around you without offending them. The big idea of the book boils down to 2 concepts. First, win friends by making people feel seen and heard. Second, have an influential impact on people by collaborating with them, not trying to argue or change their mind at the outset. The main component of any business is people, whether it's those you work with and lead or the ones you sell to. Reading this excellent insight into the human psyche is incredibly valuable. The skills Carnegie is talking about are like brain muscles that you have to train to be able to use them subconsciously and to reap the benefits off of. So the sooner you start the journey, the longer you have to become a pro at using them. Taking some time out of your normal routine to open your mind to these excellent pieces of work is the best gift you can give yourself. I'm excited for you to find the wonder and joy I experienced when I first read these books. I would love to hear about other suggestions you may have and what your thoughts are about these books when you do read them. Until the next one, you've got this. Hi, my name is Priyanka. If you like this content today, why not subscribe?